There are massive changes with Star Citizen's development this year. CIG have basically thrown away their previous development cadence in favour of a new one. CIG said, in 2025, we're making stability and quality of life improvements a top priority. While monthly patches will continue to bring new content, our focus this year is on fixing long-standing issues and making Star Citizen a smoother, more reliable experience. We've made a significant internal shift to prioritise fixes over features, and while this won't happen overnight, you'll see clear improvements throughout this year. What does this mean for us though? So there was a 3-hour Star Citizen Live talking about this, and this video is largely a summary of that with more context. The future of Star Citizen for this year, at least anyway. Patch playability is a focus along with content and stability. This won't happen overnight. You're going to see clear improvements throughout the year though. This is in comparison to the previous feature-driven model. They're not going to be holding back patches in the same way. They're going to have a patch roughly each month. With the PTU and tech preview builds, they weren't getting enough player attention before they sort of pushed them to live. So they're pulling some of the devs of feature and other work to focus more on quality of life, expanding current content, making the game more playable and refining that. Regular new story narrative and missions like the faction warfare in 4.0.1 and beyond will change and shape Pyro, and you'll notice these narratives and these missions and story events in these monthly patches being pushed. New features like base building, crafting, resource network, that's all still coming, but they're going to be spending longer in the oven and should be released with less issue and go into the preview build first, then be tested and refined. Where does that leave us with engineering and stuff like that? Is that still coming with 4.1? We don't actually know. CIG didn't address that specifically, but we do know they've been working on it a lot. It should be coming this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. We should have a roadmap update addressing these things in the near future. Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live is changing. They're going to be showing a Star Citizen update with Star Citizen Live or Inside Star Citizen each Thursday, and this is going to be one of those two shows alternately. There is going to be a focused ship series update called BTS Behind the Ships that will be shown on some Tuesdays. The Supernet Mark II, for example, is going to be shown as next week's focus. So some bits won't be shown off in Star Citizen Live inside Star Citizen because they want players to discover new patch bits in game without as many spoilers. For this year, you're going to still have the same updates and shows, but they're sometimes going to be more deliberate in a slower manner, alternately shown week to week, but we are going to be getting more patches, approximately one a month, with fewer big ticket features. Although they still are coming, they are still being worked on, they are going to be focusing more on current content and expanding that out, missions, playability, bug fixes, making what they've got there as best as it can be and expanding out on that. So they talked about Alpha 4.0 issues. It had a huge amount of new features that were massively game-changing, largely sort of things to do with server meshing and pyro and jump points. They really needed more time and more player concurrency to get all the fixes in, so there are still big issues to fix and even to find. They needed to release 4.0 out of PTU and Evocati to get more eyes on the build. In my opinion, leaving 3.24.3 up while having a 4.0 preview and then having like 4.0.1 might have spread the team and players too thin, but they wanted players to be able to play over Christmas and New Year. This is why they did it. They still wanted to be able to fix things with 4.0, but also have a more stable live build. There was a ridiculous amount of fixes made during that preview and with the 4.0.1 live build. CIG reiterated the message from the letter from the chairman and the direction for 2025 as well. Performance, stability and content. Playability is the focus. If we can get the game working great now, it will be an unparalleled experience. That's the sort of sentiment there from Chris Roberts. They are committing more resources, devs, to fixing the live environment and addressing player reported bugs and feedback. slowing down a bit of the features are still coming, but picking the right ones to add. They're going to be refactoring systems as a priority, increasing bug fixing quotas, pushing as many fixes into each patch release as possible, and they want to move away from the game being an alpha this year. That's the focus. They want it to be out of alpha. They want it to be more like a beta, though they didn't specifically say they wanted it more like a beta. This is what I reckon. Alpha 4.0.1 and 4.0.2. They talked a bit about this. 4.0.1 didn't solve all the issues for 4.0, but it did fix a ton of stuff. There was regression in some key areas, unfortunately, especially from the player point of view. A lot of stuff that they pushed to the back end was important. There's also a level of fog of war where they fix some issues and that actually reveals more and different issues that were behind those problems. Alpha 4.0.2 will not be a silver bullet, but it should address a load of bugs. Over the year, the game should get into a very good state. Long-term issues will be fixed and addressed as well. So things that you've been like going, why hasn't this still been fixed? What is going on with this? Why are they T-posing on chairs, the NPCs? Why are lifts and elevators broken? Each patch should hopefully get better and better. They talked a bit about server shard issues, matchmaking and character stowing issues. So these are currently being focused on. Shard affinity is a thing, putting you into a server that you've previously been in or currently are in still. Players are sometimes getting long spawn and authorization times when being added to a shard. Load times also went up with Pyro, and they're trying to get that solved. They think that they have a possible fix. There's also a lot of magic thinking about solving bugs and getting around bugs. One of these is rapidly logging in and out to try and get onto a different server or whatever. This can make issues worse, but they are adding Alt F4 and shard hopping to their testing process as well now, so they should be able to have redundancy for that. If characters are having shard locking issues, waiting a couple of minutes can just work pretty well. Hotfixes, they can't be applied in all circumstances. Obviously, they are doing a lot of quick and hot fixes. Some require client patches or taking a server down or a shard down. And as there are a smaller amount of shards, because there are multiple servers tied to each, when they take down a shard, that disconnects everyone. They want scheduled maintenance with infrastructure upgrades and stuff like that regularly happening. And they'll obviously inform us of those. Elevators and trams. They're not working a lot of the time, trapping and killing players. Transit, it's an old system. It needs and is getting a refactor. They want these systems to be self-healing and self-detecting issues and sort it out without any additional external impetus. They also need these transit systems to be working in the short term, ASAP. So things like unresponsive elevators are a priority, and they will get partially or temporarily fixed ASAP, and they are still working on a greater refactor though. Ship and hangar issues. Issues like hangars not opening, ship jumping around on the platform, streaming in and out of hangars not being handled properly, ship states causing issues, ships despawning while players are in them. So they're aware of these issues, they're improving and optimizing those systems now. There's a mission focus. The mission refactor is currently being worked on. They will be getting a load of updates to that in the near future. Mission sharing is something they are also working on. Obviously, they had what they referred to as a bug fixed, where everyone was getting a full payout for a mission when they were grouped. And they went, no, it's supposed to be split. However, they've now since realized that actually they want players to be encouraged to do missions together, and they want larger rewards for that. So you can expect a mission reward rework in the near future addressing this. As Zin and I have previously said, I think there's a load of ways that they can scale missions up by having your signature bigger if you're in a larger ship or multiple ships going around, where more enemies might turn up, or you might get attacked during quantum and stuff like that. If you are in those larger groups, at least I think that's a good idea personally. Talking about quantum travel, things with stopping and starting, disappearing quantum travel points, loads of issues with quantum travel. These are caused by server meshing and quantum travel stopping at boundaries and lots of stuff like that. So they are working on these. It's interesting because they're split down into like server meshing, fuel, resource container, and quantum drive issues all sort of being exacerbated together. But yeah, they're fixing those at the moment. They need to find and validate this more. They also said effectively they need more QA. but I think that regular monthly updates will actually get more players playing and effectively give them the volunteer QA that they will need for pushing these fixes in quicker. Prisons were broken in various ways as well, and CIG said that there were issues with the mission logic that runs the prison. It's sort of like on the old system that still needs to be refactored, but escaping wasn't working as well, and the elevator wouldn't trigger when you tried to leave prison, so they moved this logic to your character in a hotfix. They have a good confidence with that fix, so as long as the elevator works, you should be able to leave prison properly. Minables. There were loads of mining issues even now still, and minables can take up to like an hour to load in properly. There were tons of improvements in 4.0.1 for mining. They're going to be solving a lot more of this in coming patches, hopefully sooner rather than later. Vulkan, there are driver issues with the latest NVIDIA GeForce drivers and some issues with third-party apps. A mixture of this can be solved with NVIDIA potentially releasing new drivers soon, hopefully, and CIG working around this. CIG did say during that live stream that they want unique item recovery in-game ASAP, so this would allow you to get your special suit of gold armor or subscriber gear or concierge gear back in some way without having to reset your character. In regards to bug fixes and reports, these are much needed. CIG said they are listening, they're looking at forums and the issue council. Some issues are being bundled together by the community when they are actually different issues. So they want to change the issue council so that you can more easily validate, upvote, confirm the duplication of issues and stuff like that. So they've also seen the brigading of issues. They committed to taking a look to make sure reports are above board, not being manipulated for awards or clout or being overly brigaded. Error codes and 30Ks. They did say that some codes for error codes are too vague. It could actually be related to a lot of issues, but they're trying to demystify this. They're having some initiatives to more thoroughly categorize and be more accurate with the error codes and how to potentially fix them. Wording for errors will become more clear. They want to make sure that you're getting as much clarity as possible with an error. The black screen issue that they previously had was caused by the fading out of the game UI, including pop-ups, so you didn't know that you would like 30K'd or whatever. So they faded the disconnect pop-ups to black as well, which was unintended. This was supposed to be used for like when you die and respawn or whatever, it sort of fades out rather than just sort of keeps your camera there. So this year, a massive change for CIG. CIG know the current state of the game and they want to get it into a much better state. They want it to be a great game ASAP. There is a focus on stability, playability, quality of life fixes, monthly patches, less focus on features. They will come out when they can. Features will be more refined when they do. And we're still getting things like engineering, sandworms, crafting, base building. Will that all be this year? Potentially. The CIG need to give us a roadmap update. They want players to be able to play the game, play it now and enjoy it now. And this is a road to get out of alpha. That is the thing. To get out of alpha, I think we can consider that a beta, but I suppose it depends on your definition of that. But a playable game where you can sit down and go, I'm going to play Star Citizen. I had fun playing Star Citizen. I didn't have 1,000 bugs, or I couldn't progress because of the NPCs being broken, or missions not working, or I couldn't leave my house, stuff like that. So I think that's a great idea. I'm really interested to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Is this just more of the same from CIG? When something doesn't work, they just change it, and you're like, oh, now they're just saying it's going to take longer for development. Is that what's going on here? Or are you like, no, this is actually great. I want to play Star Citizen now. If they're working towards 1.0, they need to get the game as playable as possible. Do you think monthly patches are a good idea? And do you think this is overall a better direction for the development of Star Citizen? Is it what it needs? Is it not? Do you have any other suggestions, or what would you like to see this year? Oh, maybe you should comment on this video because you have a chance to win a Misk Fortune, kindly given to us by CIG. It comes with lifetime insurance, a game package, and some of the Red Festival skins. What's that? Tobii eye trackers are on sale at the moment. Links down below, 15% off. You've got a few days left on that offer. NordVPN! Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer if you want a VPN. There's links down below to that. You get a big discount. NordVPN is in my top 1 VPNs of all time. It's the only VPN that I use. You should use it too. It helps the channel. Clicking the links below helps the channel. Clicking the join button, like and share and subscribe and all that sort of jazz. Tell us in the comments what you think. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the verse.